Your expectations, even if your expectations are just the bare minimum, are triggering to an avoidant, especially if you're dealing with a dismissive avoidant or a fearful avoidant that leans heavily dismissive. They don't do well in relationships where there are expectations. And many of them will even assert that they don't want expectations. They just want things to go with the flow. In other words, don't expect anything of them. Have no expectations of how they are to show up for you, the amount of time they're going to spend with you, no expectations for emotional intimacy, no expectations for any particular kind of effort on the part of the avoidant. Why do they struggle with expectations? It goes back to childhood. This is a person that experienced consistent childhood emotional neglect. But in addition to that neglect, they often had parents or caretakers that had high expectations on them. And they were often only given love and validation from their parents when they met expectations. You got good grades? Here's a little bit of love. You hit the winning home run? Here's some affection. You won the race? Here is some affection as well. So what they learned is that they have to be perfect. They have to be good enough to get approval. And they often were unable to meet the expectations of their parents. So they didn't really get that love and that nurturing and had expectations that they routinely couldn't meet. Fast forward to being an adult. When expectations are in the relationship, even if it is just the bare minimum, it feels insurmountable to the avoidant. It is inevitable that they're going to let this person down. They're going to let their partner down. They're going to disappoint them because it is insurmountable. Even if it is just an expectation about spending time together or sending a good morning text or a good night text or anything of the sort, they feel like it's just impossible for them to meet these expectations. And that's why they can often make it very clear that they don't want expectations in the relationship. They can tie that in with their fear of commitment because with commitment comes expectations. But when you lay out your expectations, perhaps for the first time in the relationship, even if it's just about something small, like I want a date night once a week or every 2 weeks, that can be the event that triggers them to completely shut down, deactivate, where they take their feelings for their partner, they suppress them, they bury them, and they don't allow themselves to access their feelings for their partner because that's how they've learned to keep themselves safe when they're triggered. Expectations can trigger that deactivation, and it can trigger them to the point where they completely exit the relationship because it causes so much anxiety, so much fear on the part of the avoidant that they feel the urge to run from the relationship over the expectations. You are not wrong for having expectations in a relationship. In reality, expectations are part of your boundaries because your boundaries are your limits of what you want, don't need, what you'll tolerate and you won't tolerate, and what you expect and don't expect from your partner. You're not wrong for having expectations, and you are not selfish for having wants and needs. So just because they ran away because you had expectations does not mean that you are wrong for having them. It is a part of a normal, healthy relationship where both partners care about each other's feelings and work to meet each other's expectations. The avoidant is a reflection of their insecurities, their fears, and their attachment wounds. It's not a reflection of you or anything that you did wrong. But what they are showing you is that your needs and expectations simply were not a priority to them. It was all about what they got and how they felt. Your feelings were just not a consideration.